Hello, once again. Sorry for the delay. Cathar Love, number 77, Reincarnation, a reality check. Why a reality check? Because with reincarnation, if I'm talking now, I'm possibly talking to already those who know or believe. But certainly half the world already accepts reincarnation or aspects of reincarnation, because some are into transmigration, which means that the transmigration of souls, that when you die you could go back to being an animal or possibly a beetle. If you're a grub in this lifetime, you might be a grub in the next. So, but that's one side. With reincarnation, basically what we know today and the information we have today is that it's a continuous, we are continuously evolving. Now, some of us may not evolve much from one lifetime to the other, but that's okay, we've got plenty to go. I was with a group, a really delightful group of people, very loving and compassionate and knowing, and it was a Christian group, but they were into reincarnation and spiritism, the world of spirits. But the thing was, they were referring to writings which were way ahead, I would say, when they were written for their time. But there's been so much information between then and now that it's not been superseded, but we're just closer to reality. Look, there's a saying that the truth will set you free, and it's used over and over again. But the point is, what truth is it? This one here, this Christian group, and within Christianity, there's how many different groups are there, all with their own truths. The same with Judaism. You've got your different groups over there. You've got your fundamentalist Jewish people, and we certainly know there's lots of variations within the Muslim faith. So, and each of them are holding on to their truths. So, and of course, the truth for most people is what they happen to believe at this present time. So, but from a Gnostic point of view, what we are interested in is reality, actuality. It doesn't matter how deeply felt your belief is and what it's in, the point is, it may not be real. It's your truth for you. But there can only be one actuality. For instance, aliens. They're either there or they're not. It's as simple as that. Now, having established that they are there can be a range of different, there can be various groups of aliens, I'm sure that there are. But the point I'm trying to arrive at is, whether you believe or disbelieve, the plain fact is there is an actuality. They either are there or they're not there. So it's irrespective of your truth and my belief and your belief. So for me personally, as a Gnostic and as a Cathar, I am trying to arrive at reality, actuality, and endeavouring as much as one can to keep an open mind. Now, the group that I was with last night, as loving and compassionate and knowing, they yet were caught within this particular set of teachings. So that was fine, and I enjoyed the evening. Excuse me. But getting back to reincarnation, a reality check, I have referred to on different occasions two books which I think for anyone who is really serious about knowing what's going on these books do tell you. And there's the Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. That was his first book. And it was a bestseller. And it was to be his final book, but he put out another book, which was Destiny of Souls. You can find him on YouTube as well. The essential thing about these books are that he investigated when a person died what actually happened. In most cases, if they're in a room, they tend to rise above their body, the dead body, and they look down and they see this corpse, and it takes them a while to wake up. But actually, that's them lying, or that's their body, or their previous body lying on the floor, or on the bed, or whatever happens to be, or with a bullet in their head, and that's them, because your consciousness doesn't skip a beat. If you're in a country, it's a different situation. But you're certainly looking at your corpse. And then you can hang around depending on, because you have compassion for the people that you've left behind, who could be very sorry to see you go. Others could be pleased to see you go, whatever. And then eventually you go, and there's eventually this white light, and to the Christians it's Jesus, and then the others, the Buddhists is Buddha, and what have you. But in actual fact, when you get to that light, and you get up to that, when you actually arrive, it's 100% in both his books. Excuse me. It's your guide, your spiritual guide, your primary guide. And from there, you head home to your actual home, where your place in the world of spirit, until you next reincarnate, should you reincarnate. And at a certain point, you don't reincarnate. The thing is, why these books are so important to me is because I have the book I put out, the Cathar Dialogues, and the thing about it, Michael Newton is certainly, I'm sure he is totally unaware of me, and that's beside the point. But what my guide, and more importantly, the dialogues, this book that I just showed you, is the talks, the conversations, the dialogues between Henri de Nabours and Guillaume de Mirepoix, who is my friend Jim Callahan in this life. And we were burnt at Montsegur with a number of other people who happen to be around at the moment here in Sydney. It's like a group reincarnation, or a semi-group. It's reasonably small, but we don't know. But to digress for one moment, because there was this agreement between those burnt at Montsegur and others that the Cathars would arrive again in 700 years, which is in this particular period now. This is happening now. The last Cathar perfecti to be burnt, Guillaume Belabast, and that was in 1321, he said 700 years hence from him, so there's another couple of 7 years or so, it'll actually be 700 years since he was burnt to a crisp, courtesy of the church. So everybody, well, most people, if they have a belief, if they have a truth or religion, are looking for validation. They are looking, oh yes, look, I'm a Catholic, and there's a billion other Catholics around, so the very fact there's so many, they must be true. Or for a Buddhist, there's so many many millions of Buddhists or whatever, and it's comforting to know that there's many millions that also agree with you. Well, Cathars and Gnostics miss out on that, because Catharism and Gnosticism isn't very contagious. So it's not for the multitude. It's not for the people of the herd. It's for the few. But it's those few, because no one's born a Gnostic or no one's born a Cathar. You have to make that step yourself to go from belief or no belief to a Gnostic or a Cathar belief. So these books are important, but they say, and it is said, and I don't disagree, that for something to be scientific, it needs to be repeatable. So if something is done in America, that same process to be scientific needs to be able to be done in Germany, Australia, England, anywhere. Now, this is why, and this is very much, again, why I'm talking today. Michael Newton himself took thousands of people over a 15-year period or more, took them back, and where they went, and they did that journey from the point they died and to the world of spirit, and what happened over there, and when they decide to reincarnate themselves, when they are given a range of, you should imagine, videos that they can see and get an idea of the life that they want to, and they might want to do a hard life, or they've had a couple of hard lives, maybe they want to break for a change, they would like an easier life, and they're giving these videos of the type of people they would reincarnate, the families and so forth, and then they finally pick, that one, and so you've got this choice. At no time are you judged or pushed. It's entirely up to you. As a soul, you know what you need. So in this case, you're your own doctor, because you know what medicine is right for you. So there's this other book came out, Michael Newton, and the proof is in the pudding, and this book is the pudding. And Memories of the Afterlife. Life Between Lives, Stories of Personal Transformation. Now, what is interesting about this is that Michael Newton has trained people, and he's had schools that train hypnotists or people who are interested in hypnosis in his methods, in his methodology, and what he's learnt. Not much point in reinventing the wheel each time, and taking people back, and the processes and the things that people will go through, so that hypnotists will, knowing this, can lead the person through and assist them as they journey through that period of world, that their time in the world of spirit in between reincarnations. Now, the importance of this book is not Michael Newton so much. It is that 32 different, what would you call them, proteges of Michael Newton, because I know here in Australia we have people who have done his training, and these stories are by 32 different people who have taken people back, and it is their story. Now, each story is different because obviously we're all unique and we've all got our own set of circumstances, our purpose for living, how we died, how we carried out that purpose while we were alive, and so forth. But the actual process of dying, everyone's death is different, but the actual, from death, our consciousness keeps going, and we meet our guide. We go to the world of spirit, we go before the elders up there, some people call it the Hall of Healing, and the processes up there whereby they ask you about your life, but not in a judgmental way, in a very loving and understanding and sympathetic and compassionate way. And how well you carried that on, and as Michael Newton states, and some of the others, that people, their nature, even though they've lost their body and much of their emotional side, yet they still carry that essential nature with them, which Henri de Bourse says in my book, the dialogues. So there's this correlation. So Michael Newton's books gives validation to the books that I put out, the Cathar Dialogues and the Cathar Codex. So this is why they're important to me, because I don't want to put out something that could turn out to be incorrect. So where I can see validation, like anybody else, so if you belong to this or even politics, you want validation for your belief. So there's 32 different people, 32 different stories, but each person has the same process. And when there's time to reincarnate, again, they're given this choice of what type of life that they would, the type of life and the family and the environment that they will go in this lifetime. So this makes his process scientific from the point of view that it is repeatable. Also, it is up to date. This is cutting edge, paranormal. What would you call it? It's basically it's scientific. It's a scientific process. It is repeatable. So that's why it is so important. And I'm not a salesman for Michael Newton. I'm after the reality of the situation. Now, I've mentioned this before, but there's a Dolores Cannon, and she's into hypnosis, did it for 50 years, and both her and her husband, he was a Vietnam veteran. And but the thing is, in her research and her books, she's coming to the same conclusions as Michael Newton and his students and his proteges, taking people back through the world of spirit into the world of spirit. And so they're coming from different directions. And then here I come over here in Australia, and I put out the Cathar Dialogues, and when Henri de Nabors, the Cathar Perfecti, when he does talk about reincarnation, it's the same thing. And again, they always, Dolores Cannon, Michael Newton, the 32 people, that when there's any mention of the Creator, people who say God, but they don't use that word God because they say it personalizes it, whereas none of them know God. They know aspects of God. They know the result of God being there, of the source being there. Someone likened it, we can't know the sun, but we can understand and we can feel the effects of the sun's rays. So the emanations coming from the source. So all these things correlate. They're not contradicting. So when someone else comes up with something and I find it contradicts this, well, it's contradicting this body of evidence. And so what this is giving me at a personal level, this has given me not what I just want to hear, but it's given me the actuality of our existence, the process of we're going from one life to another, the process of reincarnation, the process of being reborn again, the fact that I've chosen my body, I'm here for a purpose. I hope I'm carrying out my purpose at the moment. I believe I am, and that's to advance the cause or the advance Gnosticism and Catharism throughout the world, especially Catharism, because it's all about love, unconditional love for everybody, everything, everywhere. The world can do with a lot of this, and it can do with less judgmental stuff and more where we understand and we're tolerant and we're compassionate. Plain fact is just being, we need more good people, but people who will stand up and, if necessary, even fight for against negative forces, if you want to say. So I recommend the books to you, and I think anyone who is really serious, and look, by the time you get through those, if you get through those books, it's not a matter of now believing, it's now a matter of knowing. And Gnosticism, Catharism, is about knowledge, it's about knowing. So we don't have to believe, because we now know. On that, I'll say adieu and talk to you again shortly. Bye for now.